Welcome to our Introduction to Sponsorship webinar. My name is Callum. I'm a solicitor in Phil Seymour Parks' immigration and employment teams. This is our first in a series of webinars that we will be bringing you, covering some important immigration topics and providing practical guidance. So, what is sponsorship? Well, certain visas are sponsored visas, meaning that the individual applicant needs to get a third party to sponsor their visa before they can submit their application. This can occur in the context of education, as well as in other more niche contexts. But for today's purposes, we're going to be talking about sponsorship of work visas by employers. Examples include the very common skilled worker visa, which is the most popular route for migrants coming to or remaining in the UK to do work. Global business mobility routes, which allow for the movement of employees across international branches, also require sponsorship. If you have a prospective or current employee who wants to apply for one of these visas, you'll need to sponsor them. And in order to sponsor migrant workers, you need to have an appropriate sponsor license in place. If you do not already have a sponsor license, you'll need to make an application for one. Once the license is in place, there are various continuing obligations that your company must comply with. Applications for sponsor licenses are made through an online portal. The application form is around 20 pages long. In addition to the information provided on the form, your application must also include specific important details about your organisation, supported by evidence sent by email. The Home Office's requirements regarding supporting documents are quite strict and include evidence of your trading status, such as company tax returns and audited accounts. You may also need to provide charts setting out your organisation's internal structure, listing the roles in your business and the names of employees, and showing the reporting lines between those different roles. One matter that you will need to decide before you can submit your license application is who will fill the key personnel roles. There are 3 key personnel roles that you need to be aware of, and you need to assign people to these roles in your application. Key personnel must be based in the UK and have the right of permanent residence here. Generally, they also need to be either an officer or employee of the business, though there are some exceptions to this that we'll get onto in a moment. The authorising officer should be a senior employee who ideally has chief responsibility for the recruitment of migrant workers. It's important that the authorising officer has access to employee records and right to work documentation, and that they have a reasonable understanding of the business's recruitment and record keeping processes, as the Home Office may interview the authorising officer either before or after the licence is in place. The key contact is the first point of contact for the Home Office if they have any questions about the business's licence. Some businesses choose to have the key contact be the same person as the authorising officer for the sake of simplicity. However, unlike the authorising officer role, the key contact does not necessarily have to be an employee or officer of the business. They can instead be a legal representative instructed by the business. We act as key contact for a number of our immigration clients with sponsor licenses. Finally, the Level 1 user is responsible for the day-to-day management of the license. To this end, they have access to the Sponsorship Management System, an online portal for managing the sponsor license. When you make your license application, the Level 1 user included needs to be an officer or employee of the business. However, once the license is in place, you can add additional Level 1 users to the license, including legal representatives and HR consultants, though at all times, at least one of your Level 1 users must be an officer or employee. I mentioned the Sponsorship Management System, or SMS, and that this is an online portal for managing the sponsor license. Now, once your license is in place, you will have continuing obligations to report certain information to the Home Office, known as changes in circumstances. For example, if a sponsored worker is absent from work for a prolonged period of time, this needs to be reported on the SMS. You also need to report organisational changes, such as changes to the business's address or changes to the identity of the authorising officer. All of this is done using the SMS. If you fail to report changes in circumstances promptly, then the Home Office may take action, up to and including the suspension or even revocation of the business's sponsor license. The SMS is also how you sponsor migrant workers. You can use the SMS to apply for certificates of sponsorship before assigning these to the migrant workers that you wish to sponsor. Both of these processes involve providing certain details about the migrant and their role. Once a certificate of sponsorship has been assigned, a reference number is generated, which the migrant worker can then use in their visa application. Once a migrant worker is sponsored by you, however, it becomes your responsibility to ensure that changes in circumstances relating to them are reported on the SMS. The SMS also has a communication board, which the Home Office uses to share messages with sponsors about changes in policy or to highlight ongoing technical issues with the SMS. So that's probably a fair bit to digest, but I'm happy to say that we have plenty of experience in the world of sponsor licenses. If you don't have a license yet, or if you have the wrong category of license, we can help prepare your sponsor license application, ensuring that all of the Home Office's document and information requirements are met. I'm proud to say that we have a 100% record with sponsor license applications for our clients, having always secured a license at the first attempt. We can also be named as key contact and representative on your license, meaning that once the license is in place, we can be added as a level 1 user and help with the management and administration of the license under our retainer service. This includes reporting changes of circumstances and applying for and assigning certificates of sponsorship for your migrant workers. We also carry out an annual health check on the license to ensure that all information is up to date, and provide a checklist of your sponsorship duties so that you're clear as to what information needs to be passed on to us for reporting on SMS, and clear on your record-keeping obligations. We can also provide training on the use of the SMS if that is something you would like to take a more hands-on approach with. Finally, once the license is in place, we can also help with preparing visa applications for your existing or prospective migrant worker employees. That's all from me for today. If you have any questions about sponsor licenses, please feel free to get in touch with me at callum.defreitas@fsp-law.com. And if you would like, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn using the QR code on screen.